the dead of night, two ancient evils awaken in America's shadowed corners. One slithers through screens in New Orleans' humid underbelly, black magic summoned for likes, blood paid in views, a Loa hungry for flesh and followers. The other waits in Salem's rotting timbers, a 350-year-old house that whispers suicide to every soul who dares enter, craving its final death. Through yours. Turn off the lights. Lock the doors. These stories begin now, and they end in screams. Story 1 is Blood for the Algorithm. Layla Monroe had always known the exact price of her body. At 26, she'd turned it into currency. Arched back for the camera, parted lips for the tips, slow grinds synced to trap beats that thumped through her tiny French Quarter apartment. But in late 2025, the numbers were bleeding out. Her subscriber count stalled at 47,312. Tips averaged $1,200 a month. Barely enough for rent, filters, and the endless Brazilian waxes that left her skin raw. Comments shifted from goddess to same old shit to outright cruelty. Retire already, queen. She needed an edge. Something irreversible. The grimoire appeared on a rain-slick Tuesday. She was wandering the back alleys behind Decatur Street, dodging puddles that reflected neon from strip clubs, when an old blind man in a frayed linen suit held it out like he'd been waiting for her. For the girl who sells pieces of herself, he rasped, milky eyes fixed somewhere over her shoulder. This one bites back. The book was heavy, bound in something that felt too soft for leather, pages yellowed and smelling of copper and musk. She paid $200 cash, more than she'd spent on anything but surgery, and carried it home under her coat like contraband. That night she set up the ring lights, lit 7 black candles in a circle, and opened the book to the first right marked with a dried blood stain shaped like a hand. Her webcam rolled. Chat was already buzzing. What's this vibe? Which cosplay arc? She sliced her palm with a ritual atame, really just a $12 Amazon dagger, let 3 fat drops fall onto the page, and read the Creole invocation aloud, stumbling over the accents but pushing through for authenticity, and the candles flared sideways. A cold draft snaked up her thighs. Her chat lost its mind. Bro, the flames moved. Best production value ever. Donations spiked $400 in 30 seconds. She laughed it off as clever editing in post. But at 3:42 a.m., after the stream ended, she felt the first touch. Not a breeze, not her imagination. Fingers long and cold traced the curve of her spine from neck to tailbone. She spun. Nothing. Then the mirror fogged. In the condensation, words formed in reverse script. Mwen la. U rele mwen. I am here. You called me. The Loa didn't announce itself with thunder. It simply moved in. By the third night, during a private show for her highest tipper, Daddy Warlock 666, $9,000 lifetime spent, the possession began in earnest. She was on all fours, moaning for the camera, when her hips bucked forward without command, and her mouth opened and perfect Haitian Creole spilled out, phrases she'd never studied. Map manje ko u, map buesan u juk u vid. I will eat your body. I will drink your blood until you are empty. The man on the other end groaned louder, tipped another $3,000, called it the hottest RP ever. Layla came so hard her vision whited out. When she recovered, a perfect red handprint, 5 fingers, too large for hers, glowed on her inner thigh like a fresh brand. It didn't hurt. It throbbed with pleasure. She tried to rationalize. Sleep deprivation, fever dream. But the book wouldn't leave her hands. She read deeper. The Loa, Baron Samedi's distant cousin, a nameless glutton of lust and violence, demanded tribute. Blood first, then sex, then lives. In exchange, power, fame, an endless stream of worshippers. Week 2, she invited Travis, Ice 29, software engineer from Baton Rouge, shy in DMs but bold with his wallet. Chat voted collab unanimously. He arrived with condoms, lube, and nervous excitement. Layla greeted him in lingerie, led him to the bedroom altar she'd built from candles and mirrors. They started slow, kissing, touching. Then her eyes rolled white. Strength flooded her limbs. She slammed him to the floorboards, straddled him, nails carving bloody trenches down his chest. She rode him savagely while chanting, voice layered with another's growl. Travis screamed, then begged, then gurgled as black smoke coiled from her mouth and strangled him mid-climax. When it was over, his body lay still, eyes wide in shock and ecstasy. Chat erupted. Holy fuck, that was intense. Best snuff fake I've seen. Donations, $22,400 in minutes. And the corpse vanished by morning, dissolved into oily residue that the Loa licked clean through her skin. She tried to quit. Threw the grimoire into the Mississippi at dawn. It floated back to her stoop that evening, pages dry, pristine. She burned it in the bathtub. Flames refused to touch the paper. She screamed into her pillow, but the handprints multiplied. Thighs, breasts, throat, like territorial marks. Month's end, impossible pregnancy. Her belly ballooned in 72 hours. Doctors on a secret ultrasound appointment saw twins, writhing shapes with too many arms, eyeless faces pressing against the membrane. The Loa spoke through her navel at night. They are mine. Nourish them with flesh, or they devour you from inside. She began hunting. First, a runaway teen she found sobbing on Bourbon Street, promised modeling gigs, and slipped GHB into Sprite. Strapped to the altar, the girl begged while Layla carved sigils into her skin with the atomy. The sacrifice streamed live, heavy glitch filters to dodge bans. Chat praised the extreme horror performance. Body gone by sunrise. Follower count, 612,000. Then a Tulane sophomore who answered a fake, exclusive content ad. Same ritual, same vanishing, same surge. 1.2 million followers. Brands slid into DMs offering six-figure deals despite the rumors. Missing posters wallpapered the quarter, but no one connected the dots to the glowing webcam girl trending hashtag Layla Unchained. Winter solstice. 4-hour live. Water broke mid-moan. No labor pains, just ripping. Two slick, obsidian things slid out, hairless, eyeless, mouths ringed with needle teeth. They latched onto her leaking breasts and drank deep. She arched in orgasmic agony, milk mixed with black ichor. Chat spammed hearts, flames, money shots. When sated, the spawn turned to the lens. Voices layered over hers. Gratitude for the feast. Now feed yourselves. Midnight struck. Every viewer's device woke simultaneously. Phones vibrated with her chant. Speakers hissed Creole. Across time zones, palms split open without knives. Invisible hands groped, squeezed, penetrated. Thousands bled. Thousands more felt violation from the inside. The Loa had jumped hosts, viral, unstoppable. Layla's final frame, naked on blood-soaked sheets, belly flat, smiling serene. "See you soon," she whispered. Screen black. The algorithm never forgets. Neither do the LOA. Every scroll, every like, every desperate late-night search. You're already part of the ritual. Next story is the 350-year-old suicidal house. Ryan Caldwell wasn't the type to believe in curses. At 35, he'd built a modest empire flipping properties across New England. Buy low, gut, stage, sell high. 12 houses in 4 years, each one a calculated risk that paid off. When the Zillow alert pinged on October 1st, 2025, for a 1676 colonial on the rural fringes of Salem, Massachusetts, $47,000 cash, as is, foreclosure, he felt the familiar adrenaline spike. The photos showed sagging porches, peeling gray clapboard, windows like vacant eyes. Online forums buzzed with warnings. The Suicide House. 14 owners since 1923, every single one found hanging in the attic on the night of a blood moon. Urban legend bullshit, Ryan muttered, scrolling through grainy photos of nooses and crime scene tape. Young people kill themselves everywhere. This place just has bad press. Emma disagreed at first. 32, 7 months pregnant, she'd spent the last year on bed rest after a scare with preeclampsia. Her nesting instinct had turned ferocious. She wanted stability, not another project. But the price was obscene. They could pay cash, avoid a mortgage, and still have savings left for the baby. One last flip, Ryan promised over Thai takeout in their cramped Boston apartment. We fix it up, live in it a year, sell for $500,000. Baby gets a yard, we get ahead. Emma rubbed her swollen belly, feeling the baby kick hard against her palm. Fine, but if I get one bad vibe, we're out. They closed October 10th, moved in the 13th under a sky the color of old bruises. The drive from the city wound through fog-choked pines, and the house appeared at the end of a potholed gravel lane like something exhumed. As Ryan carried the first box over the threshold, the floorboards groaned, not settling but inhaling, deep, deliberate. Emma paused, hand on the doorframe. Did you hear that? Ryan shrugged. Old wood. Breathe easy, babe. They spent the first day unpacking. Emma claimed the downstairs bedroom, close to the bathroom for her frequent trips, while Ryan hauled nursery furniture to the second floor. That evening she lit sage in every room, waving the bundle until smoke curled like fingers along the ceilings. Clearing the energy, she explained. Ryan teased her gently, but he noticed how the smoke seemed to avoid the narrow attic stairs, pooling instead at their base like water dammed by an invisible wall. First night, 3:17 a.m. Emma jolted awake to scratching, slow, deliberate, behind the nursery wallpaper. It sounded like fingernails testing for weak spots. She slipped out of bed, bare feet cold on the planks, and followed the noise into the hallway. The attic door at the top of the steep stairs stood ajar. Though Ryan had latched it hours earlier, a voice pressed into her mind, not spoken but implanted. Emma, Emma, Emma. Then softer. The child would be better without your failures. You know it's true. Her hand drifted to her throat. She felt invisible pressure there, like a collar tightening. Ryan found her frozen at the foot of the stairs, eyes wide, breathing shallow. Faint bruises, 5 fingerprints, circled her neck like a choker. Nightmare, she whispered. Just a nightmare. They bought a carbon monoxide detector the next morning. It read 0, and week 1 bled into week 2. Ryan started demo, stripping layers of faded floral wallpaper in the parlor. Beneath the 3rd layer, the lath was covered in carvings, hundreds of tiny nooses, each meticulously looped around initials and dates. The earliest, A. Proctor, 1693. The most recent, J. Harlan, 2023. Wood shavings littered the floor, fresh and fragrant with pine. Ryan filmed it for his Flip channel. Check this out, guys. Creepy historical Easter eggs. Haunted Flip content incoming. The video hit 12,000 views overnight. Comments ranged from fake to get out now. That night, Emma dreamed of Gallows Hill. She stood on the scaffold in 1692 linen, rope rough against her skin, crowd faces blurred with hate. The drop came sudden, her neck snapped, but instead of blackness, she felt the baby inside her twist in panic. She woke choking, her hands clawing at her throat. The bruises had darkened to deep violet, the perfect outline of a noose. The whispers began in earnest after that. At first subtle, a hiss from the floor vents saying, "Do it." Floorboards creaking, "End her misery." In the nursery, half-painted blue, the walls murmured, "She never truly wanted the child. You both know." Emma stopped sleeping. She'd sit in the rocking chair at 2 a.m., staring at the crib, whispering apologies to the bump. Ryan found her on the attic stairs at 4 a.m. the following week, barefoot, nightgown trailing, his utility knife pressed to the inside of her left wrist. Blood beaded along the blade. "It's quieter this way," she said in a monotone that wasn't hers. "No more pain for either of us." He lunged, yanked her down the steps. The knife clattered away. She collapsed, sobbing. No memory of climbing the stairs at all. He installed motion cameras everywhere, living room, hallway, nursery, attic landing. "For security," he told her, secretly, for the vlog. "Proof we're not crazy." October 31st arrived with a blood moon rising fat and red over the pines. Halloween. The house had been waiting. At dusk, the doors began slamming in perfect sequence. Front, back, parlor, kitchen, like a countdown. Lights flickered in Morse. D-I-E, D-I-E. Upstairs, the attic beam held 14 nooses, each knotted from different eras of rope, swaying gently, though the air was still. Ryan climbed the stairs with bolt cutters, determined to end the nonsense on camera. "This is for the views," he muttered. As his fingers closed around the first rope, it came alive, tightening not from above, but from within his own flesh. Invisible tendons pulling his throat closed, vision tunneled, blackout. He woke on the kitchen floor to Emma's screams. Contractions, 5 weeks premature. Her water had broken on the tile, tinged with streaks of crimson. The house groaned, floorboards buckled upward like ribs drawing breath. Ryan staggered to the front door, locked, deadbolt thrown from the inside though no one had touched it. Windows refused to shatter. Phones showed no bars, screens frozen on black. Emma doubled over, clawing at her belly. "It wants out," she gasped. "It wants us out." Heavy footsteps paced the attic above, deliberate, patient. They had nowhere else to go. Ryan half carried her up the narrow stairs to the attic. 15 nooses now dangled from the beam, one empty, swaying in invitation. The entity spoke then, not from one voice, but every crack, at every joist, layered with centuries of the dead, men, women, children who'd chosen the rope. 350 years I have fed on despair. Each soul gave me strength, but none granted release. Tonight the rite completes. One lives, one dies. Choose or I choose for you. Emma's water fully broke. Crowning began amid screams. Ryan held her against the dusty floorboards, tears streaming, begging her to fight. The walls pressed inward, plaster cracking, lath groaning, the room shrinking by inches. In the end, Ryan chose. He stood, slipped the empty noose over his head. The rope felt warm, almost welcoming. He kicked away the old steamer trunk. Swing, choke. The drop was short, but sufficient. As his body jerked, the house let out a long, shuddering exhale, like lungs finally emptying after centuries. Emma birthed alone in the dark attic. One thin, piercing cry from the infant, then abrupt silence. Dawn light filtered through cracked shutters. Neighbors, drawn by the unnatural quiet, found the front door standing wide. Ryan hung from the beam, face strangely peaceful, neck elongated. Emma was gone. No trace of blood, no infant, no footprints in the dust. The house stood silent, waiting. It relisted 2 weeks later at $29,000. The attic beam now holds 16 nooses. Some houses are cursed from the start. Others learn hunger slowly, over centuries of swallowed screams. This one no longer wants inhabitants. It wants oblivion, and it will twist love, hope, and an unborn life into the final key. If you ever see a price too low, windows too dark, walk away. The moment you cross the threshold, the choice stops being yours. Some places are born cursed. Some learn it over centuries. The house doesn't want your money. It doesn't want your renovation. It wants release. And it will use love, fear, hope, anything to get it. If you ever see a deal too good, an old colonial with history, walk away. Because once you cross the threshold, the choice isn't yours anymore. It never was.